You are now tuned in with Master My Own Fate TV with yours truly, Bull. Right. And I always like to reiterate the people gave me that name, Bull. When I was a young man, I guess that's the image that I cast off because, I high key was unstoppable. Sometimes it feel weird talking my shit because a lot of people are very insecure, and at times I don't really want to trigger people so that they can get my message. But that's what I did, right? And even within that, there were things that forged me. I started off really like bullying my peers on the field. Then things switched up, and because of my size, I had to play with kids older than me. So started off with age ball, then we went to um, pound ball. So I'm playing with kids 3 years older than me, and I play nose guard, and I still didn't fold. The name still held true, and because of and I did that for years. And because of that experience, when I went back to playing with people my own age, it was cake for a long, long time. Um, yeah, of course, I have my challenges. You eventually go against people that's like that, but for the large majority, the average person that lined up against me, it wasn't equipped. Word. But to go into the message of the day, you know, simply being great at sports is won't save you, and it won't set you up for success either. And I'm going to give supporting details of why it's not true. And you know, when you grow to think that way, of course, that will be what you accept as true and a vision for yourself, right? When the only form of validation you get, especially in the melanated community, is when you score a touchdown, when you shoot a three, when they can see real potential in what you could become. You know, a lot of times it don't even matter if you become it as long as they believe you got the potential. And you could have, you know, on there's the macrocosm is the biggest dimension. The mesocosm is the second to the smallest, and the second to the biggest. The microcosm is the smallest. On a microcosm, you can live the same type of experience a celebrity uh, would have if you fire at sports like that. Especially just coming up as a young man. I'm talking about pee wee ball. I'm talking about middle school, high school for sure. People will be willing to cut a lot of corners and do a lot of things for you. And I'm not even saying I had that experience. I was actually one of the few that chose and took the hard route. Sometimes life dealt it to me, sometimes I chose to go that way. Because I believed in having fortitude, forging your own way. Instinctively, spiritually, I was whispered those things. I believe by God. Um, so having took those routes and watching other people that didn't, they didn't last and was not equipped. Those who just had the easy way that yeah, there's an analogy about, a wiser man saying, um, you could go on a journey, he's already traveled that journey. So he can tell you where to stop and get some water or stop and get some gas because there ain't gonna be a pole up there, or there ain't gonna be a gas station up there type thing. But that's why I chuckled. That's what that reminded me of. But it's real. Um, if you're not growing for success, the chances of you being able to sustain it, even when you touch it, is very slim. So, boom, you having your way with everything and everybody, then you eventually meet adversity and you're not prepared for it. What do? It's going to be based upon how you practiced, encountering something like that. And if you've had people in your corner to help groom you and make you multi-dimensional, so you're not trapped within that one dynamic of life or one dynamic of experience. And again, I mentioned individuals crashing out in other videos, to which when they feel like they left with no option, that's when they respond in a way that could risk their life for freedom. But if you're equipped in other areas and dynamics and realize that one thing is not the end all be all, you're able to become much more well-rounded and good at various things to where, you're not hit with the anxiety of thinking your world is crashing. And now you don't know what to do. And now because you don't know what to do, you should just end it in which that is not the case. But the case for some, too many, that feel like they have no other way. And it's only because they haven't been made aware of those things. That going back to what we were talking about before, because the community around them feels like they got a shot to go get it and make it pro. In which the purpose of this video is to announce being great at sports is not going to save you. You have to become multidimensional, and you must not wait till the last minute. And it must be on you. You can't even allow it to be in no one else's hand. And that's why we're here today at Master of My Own Fate, so that you could be the master of your own fate. 100. But yeah, those, just because you're good now, Pee-wee ball, middle school, that does not mean that you're gonna be like that in high school. Or if you was like that in high school, that you're gonna be like that in college. The grind never stops. You must keep going. When you have off days, you should rejoice because your competition gonna take a day off. Holidays, rejoice. They ain't gonna stick to their diet and they gonna get overweight, and that's gonna make them slower. That's gonna make them less flexible. That's gonna let them be less mobile, have less mobility. You feel me? Like in every moment that you can to snatch victory, you should. And even those days you miss, if you pissed off at yourself, pissed off for greatness, as some of those that that are great have said, you're gonna take every advantage you can, and you should. And the reason why is because everything you go through, when you go through bettering yourself, mastering that skill set, pushing yourself beyond barriers of what you thought you could do, continuously breaking the limitations on your own mind, body, and soul. You're doing that through sports, but you're going to take all of those dynamics into life. And it's going, man, look, the different things I've learned through my desire to be great at sports, particularly football, which I achieved a lot. I've achieved what very minimum have achieved. I'm in the record books to this day, multiple times. And the traits, virtues, principles that I got from the game, all the various men, the great men wisdom and knowledge, not only how to move as an athlete of caliber, uh, a man of God, a leader, you know, someone that can be relied on. And to this day, as I've grown, it only has evolved more because I can understand some of those points that were being made all the way back then, from when I had my first coach. You feel me? Um, One thing to mention, just one, how to take criticism, you know, which is a game changer, and it's not easy. The best things in life are not easy. You feel me? Or let me say the most valuable things you can gain from life are not easy. They're not easily learned. They're not easily grasped. There are often things you have to continue to work in or work at, you know, to receive that blessing of wisdom and knowledge. You feel me? But yeah. So as you're on your journey, young man, of of, of perfecting your craft, putting all the energy and time into the craft of whatever your sport is, remember to cultivate other aspects of yourself, like your ability to read, your ability to do math, your ability to grasp new subjects. Seek knowledge and wisdom so that when your time do come, you can sustain that, you know, and put yourself in a better position, you, spiritually, financially, physically, um, whatever way you would like to. And it's out here. Even when I was young, I didn't have a phone till I was 14, and I couldn't get on the internet with it. You know, it had basic capabilities. You feel me? Um, Funny, now I'm here saying what so many have said to me, if I knew now what I knew, if I knew then what I know now, you feel me? You know, I was a learner, you know. Of course, I was a kid too, but like, I wasn't a distracted youth when I was young, if that makes sense. I was focused. I had strict parents, you know, that made me write book reports, you know, and shoot, I ain't even gonna go into all that, but yeah, it turned out decent, apparently, you know, but yeah, they got NIL deals now. It's imperative that you become financially literate. It's imperative. It is very important and imperative that you learn contract law. You know, and no lie, you can go to Barnes and Noble and pick up a small business tax guide. I recommend Nolo. That's the one I bought. You know, tremendously helped me. Contract laws, small business tax deductions. The list goes on. You have to be the master of your own fate if you want to be in a position to, if you want to have and sustain a family, um, at the very least provide yourself for yourself and the people you love, you know, if that's your thing. Um, yeah, just to be in a position to be the master of your own fate and the director of your own destiny. And you can only do that when you got the funds to be able to do that. If you don't have the funds to be able to do that, you will be at the mercy of, at the very least, the government, you know, and God knows what else and who else. But the better you can maximize your success because life is truly up and down. You don't know how long you got anything. You can't feel like nothing is forever. You feel me? So if you want to be ahead of the curve, and at the very least cushion a fall you may have, and at the best, be able to live a life of luxury does not equate to happiness, but a life of being able to do whatever you want whenever you want to. I think that's could be the definition of happiness. You know, it's imperative that you take these steps. And it is not easy, but it is worth it. I promise you. To be able to fly to the other half of the world and see that life is not what you see on TV, and get to see for yourself how majority of the world is living, especially underdeveloped nations. Some call them second world or third world countries, and yeah, it gives you a different perspective of what's important and what to put your focus and energy into. You know, it's a lot out here that's not being talked about, and expressed and exposed. And it's, of course, a divine plan. If all the world could speak one language, oh my God, you think all the information that coming out now is overwhelming. You have no idea, from the books I've read to the testaments I've heard. Like it's interesting. But the point is becoming the master of your own fate. And I believe if you are an athlete, I gave you the keys to be able to take full advantage of what's coming before you. And no matter if you make the long, distance run and achieve, making it pro, take the wisdom out of all of the circumstances that you are getting to receive, assess, and then at a later time use. Because you don't know when it's going to be useful, you know? And that useful trait being able to open up doors for you to be able to seize opportunity, which is why I always say everything matters. And for you to take advantage of those different occurrences that reality and the universe set up for you, you gotta be present, and not have your head in the clouds or not have an illusion of what's going on around you that's not reality. And based on just based off of how you feel, as a man, you ain't gonna get nowhere operating off of feelings. Ever. And if you do, it'll be temporary. Why? Because feelings are temporary. But with that being said, I digress. So, continue to be great. Continue to be the master of your own fate.